Hi, I'm David Burns. Welcome to you all from IMTS in Chicago. I'm here with Onome Scott-Emuakpor, a friend who I met about a year ago in the UK, and I'm pretty interested in his story. So first off, this is your first IMTS, yep?
Yes, it is.
I want to know a little bit about how you got here. So let's go a ways back. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Lansing, Michigan. Well, technically East Lansing, Michigan, Michigan State. My dad worked for Michigan State, works for the medical department. Moved to Nigeria for 6 years. Moved from Nigeria to London, and then moved back to East Lansing when I was 10, and graduated from East Lansing High School.
Okay. What did you like as a kid?
As a kid, I liked art. I liked to draw. I liked to watch things and draw. And then as I got older, probably when I got into middle school, I got into basketball because I was taller than everybody else. When I was in middle school, I was 5'10", in 6th grade. So being taller than everybody else, everyone assumes you play basketball. Sure. So you start playing basketball, you realize you're good at it. So between art, basketball, that was most of what I did. And in between that was video games, which was a combination of art and basketball with some of the basketball games. So. Well,
we're going to jump from art and basketball to you becoming a PhD in engineering. But, in between, you ended up at Wright State playing basketball on a scholarship, right?
I did, yeah. Got a scholarship from East Lansing to play at Wright State. And going into Wright State, obviously, art and basketball were my things, and so they back then, it wasn't, everything's digital now. Back then, they had questionnaires they would mail to you. You'd fill them out by hand, you'd mail it back. And in my questionnaire, they have what's your preferred major? Obviously, fine art was my preferred major because that's all I did was draw and play basketball. My dad saw it and said, "Why are you putting down fine art?" I was like, "Because that's what I want to major." And he said, "Well, fine art's not a major, that's a hobby. You can do fine art without going to school. You should pick a better major." It's like, I don't know what normal people do. It's like, well, I'll sleep on it and tell you tomorrow. He wakes up the next day and he says, "Had a dream. You should be an engineer." It's like, I don't know what an engineer is or what an engineer does. He was like, "That's okay. You'll figure it out. You're really good at math. You'll figure it out." So, yeah, that's how I became an engineer. I started putting down engineering, and when I got to school, I was like, well, I got to figure out what engineers do and figure out which one aligns with my interests.
Sure.
And mechanical engineering, I was like, oh, mechanical engineering, there's mechanical drawing, there may be some art involved. I'll do that. And that's essentially how I ended up majoring in engineering and playing basketball.
Yeah. But you ended up getting a PhD, yeah?
I did. So in this whole process, engineering, and my dad knew this. Dads know their sons better than their sons know themselves, right? So my dad knew that if I got into engineering, that it would come naturally with the math and the problem solving, and it did. It just came naturally. And so when I got injured, my junior year, my whole plan was to just major in something, graduate, and when I graduate, I'd go play overseas.
Sure.
When I got injured, well, there goes that plan. I was like, all right, well, I have to take engineering more seriously. So then I decided to go get an internship somewhere, and I looked around, and the Air Force had an internship position. So interviewed for it. It was between myself and another guy who had a way better GPA than me. So they were going to pick that guy, and somehow in the negotiations, things fell through with that guy. And I go, well, we'll pick up the basketball player who knows nothing about it being an engineer. So they picked me up, and just like anything else, it was kind of when you see technology for the first time, it's very intriguing to you. It's just that most people that get into engineering see technology and dive into it for the first time as kids. Like they'll see it when they're 8, 9, 10 years old. Well, I was seeing it for the first time when I was 20, 21, and at 20, 21, I'm looking at this stuff as if an 8 or 9-year-old would, but I'm 21 with all the knowledge that an 8 or 9-year-old doesn't have.
Sure.
So that led me down the rabbit hole of researching and wanting to learn more and understand. And so when I graduated, I thought, well, I kind of still don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to learn more. So then I got a master's, and same thing with that. I kind of don't really know what I want to do, but I know I'm really intrigued with aerospace and structural assessment and manufacturing and how to make things better, that I'm just going to go for a PhD and keep learning. Then I got done with a PhD and essentially told, hey, there's a position at the Air Force where you get to do research. I was like, you mean the thing that I've been doing this whole time where I just learn about this stuff? You're going to pay me to do that?
Wow.
Well, joke's on you. I would have done it for free, but so just got into that and kept doing research. And obviously, the more you learn, the more your research advances. So whereas in college, I'm working with dog bones and materials and trying to figure out accelerated methods to characterizing a material. Then I go from the material to feature-based manufacturing. Then I go from feature-based manufacturing to actual components. And then before I know it, I'm involved in understanding and implementing different capabilities and designs to advance turbine engine components. And in that ascension, at no point was I thinking that, I want to change the world. All I wanted to do was learn more, and by learning more, I got to apply the new things I learned to this technology.
Yeah, that's an amazing story.
Thank
That's
you.
great. This is your first time at IMTS?
It is.
So you walked in the door this morning, and what did you think?
I thought that, so the first thing I thought was, this is just like any other conference because you only walk into, one side, right?
Sure.
And I'm like, man, this is a pretty big, exhibition hall. And I walk through, and just the level of connections you make when you first walk in. It's like you walk in and you see somebody that you know from working in the Air Force. You walk in, you see the next person, and then kind of walk through. And I thought I'd made it through about a third of the exhibition. I was like, all right, I'll go through the rest tomorrow. And then I walk out and realize that there are 4 other places that I need to go to. And
Because you're only in the east.
I was in the west.
Oh,
I was in the west.
Okay.
So I walk out. I was like, "There's more places." Here, I thought that I just needed to knock out the west all week. It turns out that there's more places to go to. So immediately, I got overwhelmed.
Well.
But it's just have to plan a little differently to be able to make it through and converse with all the people that are in the different exhibits.
Well, if you like manufacturing, it's kind of like a playground.
It is very much like a playground, for sure.
So you've had a chance at least to walk through the West Hall. Is there something else you're hoping to see that you haven't seen yet?
Well, the main thing that I think that I wanted to see was some of the additive technologies and how they and how they work as a hybrid technology with existing technology.
Sure.
And so I actually went straight to the main thing that I wanted to see, which was the Meltio manufacturing, and how that coincided with a lot of the additive repair work that I'm doing, and also my patent for vibration suppression. The system that Meltio has really coincides with being able to take these 2 technologies that I've worked on in the Air Force and combine them for commercial application to help advance sustainment of aerospace components. So that's one of the main things that I wanted to see in that. And so that was the first thing that I wanted to make sure that I knocked that connection out of the way and kind of open myself up to explore new areas after seeing that.
Well, it's been a great conversation. Thanks. I'm glad I got to know you a little better.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. This is David Burns, and thank you from IMTS Plus.